All right, Soma, filling out the spooky times here. Past midnight now for me, you know. All the kids are asleep. Time to get a little scary. BioShock is a horror game, but it doesn't quite feel like it. You're just blasting through using telekinesis, killing all the things. But hey, you know, no weapons in Soma. It's from the same devs as Amnesia and Penumbra and Amnesia Rebirth. It's just as broken. So if you've seen those runs, this is pretty much the same. So we're going to hop into it. We're going to have a little cutscene. We're going to explain the story. There are big spoilers for this if you're still wanting to play it for whatever reason. It came out years ago. But yeah, there are some big spoiler warnings. So click new game. Go into the story here. Time will start after this cutscene's over. You know, when you get your first input. Nice little quote to start off with.
Your call.
This cutscene's going to set up our story. Like I said, our main character is Simon. He's a bit annoying to listen to throughout the course of the run, but as we find out from here, he's in a car accident and he suffers a lot of brain damage. So he has trouble thinking things through and comprehending very simple things that get told to him many, many times, as we'll see throughout the game.
No, it's not like that. Why now?
I just want to say really quick, one, do let us know when time begins just for to say it, and then two, Soma is actually, like, for a while I know that GDQ's going to be doing the Ocean Week thing, doing the aquatic games. Soma was actually the game that I kind of wanted to base the episode around entirely.
Oh, so you got to answer your phone when you wake up. Big thing. The time started in case you missed it.
That's me.
Fully clothed, we're waking up, we got our shoes on and everything, we're ready to go. We got the quarantine life down.
Yeah, just a bad dream. Are we still on for
So
today?
we're getting this phone call because we're setting up an appointment to go talk to a doctor, help us potentially with our brain damage.
Don't worry, I got it somewhere.
So he's just making sure that we drink our penny milk. Be sure to drink your penny milk. There's 3 spots where this can spawn, and it's always in the last spot you check. So we're going to check the cupboards, the bathroom, and the desk. So there, 1 check, 2, and it's going to spawn right here. We got our penny milk. We're going to drink it and head out for a nice time on the town.
Feels like milk, but the taste is like sucking on a penny.
So now we're kind of in an auto-scroller. There's one big choice you have to make here. It's whether to answer the phone call from your friend or to completely ignore him. And if you ignore him, it's a little bit faster. So we're just spamming right-click so that we don't have to talk to him. He wants to talk about like coming into work or getting the shift covered or something. It's been a long time since I've listened to it, so I'm not exactly sure. But have a little radish pop up on our phone and ignore that. All right. So there's a few times in this game, and in this run particularly, where you load into a map, but you don't actually see what's around you for a couple seconds as it fades in. You can actually move during those sections, which we'll see on this next level. So whenever it fades to black, I'm just going to be holding forward. So when I spawn in, I've just walked forward. I'm going to run into a wall. And right where that wall is, there's a keypad I need to enter the code into. So right here, we're just walking forward. And when I can finally see, we just look down and the keypad should be right there. Boop. Nice little time save.
Hello? Dr. Munchie?
Save, like, hopping around doesn't really save time, but sometimes when you're just running forward, you get a little bored after a couple runs, so I like the jump. So this is the doctor. Well, he's working on it. This is kind of like his thesis work to become a doctor. So he's going to scan our brain data and upload our consciousness, and that kind of sets the stage for all of what SOMA's about. It's about what makes a person a person. Is it their memories? Is it their body? Is it both? Is it their soul? Get some nice little dialogue here and there. There's a lot of breaking this game, but there's also instances of just kind of having to wait for some dialogue to pass, like here. There's one very notorious elevator section late into the game, which puts a lot of runners off from actually picking this up. But sometimes you need a little break here and there.
Born 1988, July 16.
Right.
Flat neurograph.
I hope everyone in chat is ready for the scariness.
All
It's not
files
scary yet,
Well, this
unless you're
hurt.
afraid of
It's just a
doctors,
scan.
in which case,
It'll hurt about as much as getting your picture.
I
Could
guess
be.
so.
Indians
Yeah.
thought cameras would steal their souls.
Actually, a quick question, I guess, is the general speedrun for SOMA.
Let's hope they're wrong.
Would you say that this is an easy game to learn or kind of to get into as a speedrun?
Jeez.
It is. There's two main things you kind of have to get down in the engine, and that's prop flying and prop clipping, which we'll touch on here in just
I'll
a
say right
second.
now, I do know. All right, I've seen both tricks, and the thing that scared me from this game was the prop flying, because I think there's like the one part you do have like 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, the hovers are a little strange. We're just breaking out. So now we're in Upsilon, which, like, how did we get here? We were just in a doctor's office, right? We're gonna do a prop clip. We're gonna do another one here, and then we'll explain kind of what's going on. But basically, our brain data was uploaded to like a server or whatever, and then a whole bunch of stuff happened. There's a comet that hit the world and basically killed off everyone on the surface, and there was this base constructed underwater to research stuff at some point, which is where we are now. And then our brain data got transferred to a chip that got put into a different body, and this is how we've ended up down underwater. So we're not in our original body. This is actually one of the workers here. We're gonna do a little skip. So we're gonna crawl in this vent, back out, and we're gonna unload the section because you're supposed to be in there. Now we're out of bounds. Hey, look at that. So we actually do play this on a down patch version just because of this trick here. It's not really needed because otherwise you just crawl through the vent, but it's a little slow. So small little time save. And now we're gonna do prop flying, which is a little scary. It's not too bad. This is actually probably one of the scariest ones because the chair's not a super reliable prop to use this. The more uniform the object is, the easier it is to stand on and move around. We will have plenty of time to explain hovers in just a second, but a lot more story stuff happens. So these codes are always the same. And then we get to meet the best character in this game, Catherine. So much better than Simon. Wish she was the playable character.
I found the dome ceiling.
It is what it is. She's also uploaded into the data,
Simon, was it?
and she's going to be our companion
Jared, Simon Jared.
for pretty much all of the game.
I'm Catherine.
But she is, because she's uploaded to the server,
I was hoping you
she can only be with us when the tool that we have is plugged in. So there's going to be stretches where she's not around because we haven't plugged her in.
Get here and why do the robots talk like
She
that?
kind of gives us a lot of exposition,
Clearly, have you never been there
fills in some of the
before? Where
gaps.
did you work?
The Grimoire in Toronto. Is
Has
that
to deal
really
with
important?
Simon's
No. I
lack
mean,
of
where
understanding of
did you work
anything.
too?
I don't know what that is.
That's unexpected. Did you come directly from Toronto?
Yeah, I did. And it was very unexpected.
Have you seen any people, like staff or field
Yeah.
technicians?
So there are a lot of robots around the areas, which kind of fill you into the fact that they're not
You're telling me?
actually robots. They're robots with
What was that?
consciousness stuck into them. But we kind of skip all that because it's a speedrun.
I think
and
this
we don't
place is about
have
to
time for any of that.
collapse. What do I do? How did I get there?
So the two tricks that I said are mainly in this run, and if you watch Amnesia Rebirth, it's the same engine, so you experience the exact same tricks. And it all relies around the attributes of props. Whenever you pick up a prop initially, it doesn't really have collision. But if you are interacting with it, like you're putting it next to yourself or even like clipping through your own collision, and then you grab it again, it becomes solid, which can let you stand on it and act as a flooring, which we're about to do again. And then prop clipping, if it's not underneath you, it's going to look for the shortest way to push you out of that object so the collision isn't overlapping. And a lot of times that forces you through a wall because that's the quickest way and the easiest way the item has to undo that collision. So we're going to grab this plank. Anytime we're in the open water sections of this game, we're just going to hover through it because it's faster. We're just going to hover up. It also becomes really hard to see sometimes. And that's not just a stream thing, it's also hard for me to see, so we're using some cues from the environment itself. So we're gonna hover over this way. We don't want to go up too high. Go for it.
So, oh, God.
Ask your question. We got some time here.
I was gonna say you're pretty much like making like a custom boat with these like different tools and in order to do the hovers, essentially.
Yeah, we're making our own flooring that we get to bring along with us. And depending on how far away it is from us, we have the ability to use the scroll wheel to bring it closer or further away. It can either let us gain height really, really quickly, but if it's close to us and we can do that, then we're going to have trouble standing on the prop. And inversely, if we put it far away from us, it's going to be really easy to stand on, but it's not going to give us height. We can just kind of walk forward. And here, it's going to look a little weird. I'm going to kind of hit down on the side of this rock. So as you're playing this game, and a lot of games do this too, is that there's a preload trigger there, which means there's like an area that you walk through that tells the game, hey, we're getting close to the end of this level, so go ahead and start loading in the next level so that we don't have to go through a actual load screen. You just kind of go into this area and then boom, you're in the next. And the reason we want to hit that instead of just going through a load screen is it's going to keep this prop that we took with us, this sheet of metal, and it's actually going to keep it loaded in. If we went through a load screen, it would unload. It's just loading in the new map. It doesn't care about what came before. And we're going to clip out of this and use that once again, but we need to go into the next map so we can actually continue on with the game. So you're going to notice here it doesn't fade to black. It just kind of stops for a second and then opens the door, which means we hit it. If we don't hit the preload trigger, then we get a black screen here, and that's no good.
I just want to say, I love the whole, like, all the, what is that, the algae and the clams and the shells and
Oh yeah,
all the
the
barnacles and stuff.
environments in this are great. Although we don't really get a look at it, it still is one of the best underwater sections besides like Subnautica. We're gonna clip out and save because this is a little sketchy. A lot of the hovers are a little safe because you're just over land, and if you fall, you can set it back up. This one's over a void, and you fall into the void, then you have to restart. So here's our sheet of metal. You can see just a little bit of this was still preloaded in. We're going to set this up again, and we're going to hover. So everything below me right now is void, and we're going to use some of the map collision to know which way we need to go. You're supposed to set up a train car to take you down this really long tunnel. You're supposed to power it up, and then there's a cutscene and a whole bunch of other stuff that we don't really care to do. So we're just going to fly through the void for a minute or two, which is definitely the scariest part of this game. The monsters aren't really a thing. The atmosphere and stuff isn't really scary, but this, it gets my heart racing, you know.
Just watching you do the run, I'm imagining like it's just like a horror game, but then like put in like the old school cartoon animation. We have like the guy like he has like the 2 planks of wood, and then he's constantly making a bridge just by nailing the old plank in front of the new plank.
Yeah, just pick it up and put it down.
Exactly, but instead make that into a horror game.
So you can see the train car, like the railway right below us, which means we're going in the right way. We're not too far. And up here soon, we should see a big gray box. And there it is, which means we're really close. We're also going to need to lose some height because we went up a little too high, but that's okay. So our goal is this ladder at the very end. That's how we're going to get back inbounds. It's also the very end of the level, which is really nice. So you can also...
Right, so I have to ask...
Yeah, go for it.
How did people find this?
You know, just messing around with stuff.
That's a fair answer. I always like have to wonder because like it's one thing to do like the prop line, but like I'm assuming like maybe someone knew prop line was thing and they look around for maybe a spot that they can kind of clip back in or something.
Yeah, I kind of picked up a lot of times I like routing games, especially like Amnesia Rebirth when that came out. But Soma was one that I didn't really get a chance to, so I don't know exactly who discovered what or the order of things. But I think usually the easiest thing to go to in terms of testing games is object hovering. You know, everyone's tried to pick up an object and like stand on it and jump. So prop flying, I think, was found pretty quickly. And then, you know, it's a frictional game. So people knew there was going to be a way to get out of bounds at some point.
Speaking of which, by the way, I heard somebody got in Penumbra 1, 2, and 3 in SGDQ.
That is true. We will be doing a Penumbra trilogy run, all 3 games for SGDQ. It's going to be pretty awesome. They're also extremely broken in a lot of different ways. Also, Simon has one of the best lines right there. He asks, how big can the ocean be? If that doesn't show you brain damage, I don't know what does. But so we're just going to prop fly again. There's this pipe in the ground that kind of gives us a perfect line on where we need to go. I can turn on my flashlight here, but as you can see, flashlight in this game doesn't really do anything in these giant open waters. So we're going to do another hover, get to the end of this section. Like I said, this one's not too scary because if I fall, I have the item. I can pick it back up and set it up. But you still got to make sure you're going the right way. You got enough height to get over some obstacles, all that good stuff. But yeah, if you guys don't know me, my name's BloodThunder. I run a whole bunch of different games. If you've watched the GDQ in the past, you've probably seen me. Much like Igdisis and been a dictator. I also run Bioshock 1, 2, Infinite, all the DLCs and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'll also be at this upcoming GDQ doing the Penumbra Trilogy. Doing a whole lot of practice over on my channel as well. I like to do some fictional games anthology runs, which is Penumbra, all the Amnesias, this game, all back to back. It's a whole lot of fun. So if you like these games, like these speedruns, you know where to find them. We're still hovering here, getting close to the end, I think. Oh, I need a little bit more height. So to gain height, I can either bring the object a little bit closer to me, or I can just hit jump. You still have to be a little careful when you're doing this. The falling is relatively safe, but it still loses time, so we try not to do it when we can. And we'll get back to being inside the map, but we're going to be clipping through it anyways. Really, this game comes down to if we're inside the map, we're going to be doing a lot of prop clipping. If we're outside the map, we're going to be doing hovering. If you want to get into this run, you just kind of have to master those two things, and then you're good. The rest is relatively simple. So we clip back in there, skip a whole bunch of walking. So this is a black screen, so we didn't hit the preload trigger along the way, which is normal. That's not one we need to hit.
Right, we're in. Let's find a working escape vessel.
Just gonna clip through there. Once again, the object when you do a prop clip is just looking for the shortest way to clip you out of the collision. So there, it's like, all right, there's a whole lot of item to the right side. The left side's relatively short, so we're going to send you to the left of the item, which is through the wall. And both of these tricks, I kind of mentioned it, also work in Amnesia Rebirth, because it's the exact same engine and they didn't bother fixing anything, which is great about fictional games. There was like, hey, there's some cool stuff in our runs. We're not going to fix that, so you could have even more fun. So if you like the look of this run, probably like Amnesia Rebirth. It's same style, less cutscenes. We're actually going to go encounter our first monster in this game. I know, it's crazy right now. A monster? A monster in my horror games? I don't believe it. We're pulling 3 of these plugs out for whatever reason. I don't remember the actual lore behind this area. So this guy's gonna get angry at us.
Warning. Reactor collapse.
And now we're just gonna run away from him. But we're also underwater, so it's a little floaty. If you're not careful, you can like slam your head up against this when you're running down the stairs.
Okay, really dumb question. When you're doing the prop flying, if you fall, do you take fall damage?
Yes, but fall damage doesn't really do anything in this game. You'll never die from it, but it kind of distorts your vision and you like walk at an angle for a little bit.
What did you do?
Huh.
I messed up, okay? Can you get us out of
Because I was
here?
thinking, like, you're in the ocean, like, would you float down, or like, would gravity kill you? Like, what happened? Because I've seen the Amnesia Rebirth run you talked about. I know, like, you can die from that, I think, because you're in the desert and it's hard. But this is water.
Yeah, if you're in the water sections, you actually don't take any fall damage. Fall damage, it's not really damage at all. But if you're like inside and you drop down quite a bit, then you will.
Can you steer this thing?
I don't think in any of the frictional games you actually ever die from fall damage.
Direction we're going in.
Amnesia, you definitely can't. But damage usually means you're going slower. At least in Dark Descent and Machine for Pigs, taking damage makes you walk at a slower speed, so you don't want to do it. Penumbra is never like, there's never an instance of
Are you talking about
where
the
you would
black
actually
tentacles in
take
the
fall
engine room?
damage. so I'm
I've
not
seen them
entirely
before
sure.
at Epsilon. What are they?
They're a manifestation of a malfunctioning station-wide artificial intelligence.
We have Catherine
called
back.
WOW.
She's explaining what the monster we just
Station-wide?
fought was, which
So
is
we
the
just made
WoW.
a powerful enemy.
No,
It's always fun to say the
that.
WoW.
The AI isn't a persona.
great
It doesn't
monster.
It
feel
is.
or think like we do. It's more like a cancer.
All right, I think this is a good
Looks
time.
like your sabotage worked better
All
than
right,
expected.
we talked about before we started. I have a very important question. What is your favorite? Either you can say fish or marine life creature. And I'll go for the same question to the rest of chat as well if you missed it. What is your favorite fish or marine life creature? I'm asking for all the runners today, since it is Ocean Week.
For me personally, it's an easy answer. It's the octopus.
It's a good
Clearly-
choice.
clearly
I
the
think
best
Ben had
answer.
the same choice.
Please remain seated.
There's not many creatures out there that have multiple arms or tentacles, you know. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Although, how do you feel about the squid?
The squid is like the discount octopus, you know.
Aww.
It's not quite as good. It's like having Coke and Diet Coke. Like, one's clearly the better choice, but you still kind of like the other.
I hear that.
We're actually going to meet our little robo pal here. He's our rescue from this place. So he crashed. Catherine's not a great driver, but hey, she's a robot, can't blame her. Plays a nice little tune for saving us.
You're the rescue team, huh?
And then we're also doing
Good job.
not so much a trick, just kind of like a little fun thing to do. It does save time, but it's known as door juggling. So you can move a lot slower when you're carrying objects, especially heavy objects. So if you're constantly jumping where you're not slowed down and then tossing the item further, you never get the slowness. It's a little difficult because there's a lot of stuff in the way and it's a big door, but the idea here is just constantly like grab, throw this forward, grab, throw it forward, all that good stuff. So we're gonna need this later. As you can probably guess, it's for floating through the water. Fun fact about this, if this door touches one of these railings here, it actually just gets deleted from the game, so you don't want to do that. Don't know why, but it does, so don't have that happen. Gonna line up the satellite so we can call in a Zeppelin. It's a nice little underwater transport that we have to go on, but we're not gonna use. So here. Just transport real quick.
The Zeppelin's on its way. Gotta get ready.
I want to use this door to get a little bit closer. We're also going to use this a second time to go much further into the level. But we have to go through this process of stealing some chips. It's a good time. So we're going to plug Catherine back in. She's going to talk to us about some stuff.
We're safe.
And she's going to assign us the task of stealing some chips.
Resistance like that. Where are we now?
Delta. At least that's what you said before the crash.
If you're asking the hard-hitting questions,
Of course. Is this a
I think the hardest hitting question is, what is the best kind of
Think you
chip?
can get us to Theta?
It's a cargo transport.
That's a good question. Personally, I enjoy barbecue myself, but also I can also go for jalapeno.
What brand name? What advertising sponsorship are we getting
The tool chip is bust.
on the show?
Good question.
Look who's been paying attention.
Honestly, I'm always in the same general opinion of many things. My favorite answer is free.
In the direction of the closest tool chip
Free
storage?
is
I think it would
hard
be
to beat.
easier to just take one from a robot.
It is. Free
Knock
chips.
a robot over the head and steal their chips?
The toolbox over there.
Well, the computer
says it
chips
has
don't
a
taste
stop
very
button. You could use that.
Come on. I don't want to hurt anyone. Isn't
How about
this a bit
yours?
much?
It's just a robot.
That's a great
Simon.
question. I'm a big fan of variety bags of Doritos, especially when they're spilt. I like those quite a bit. So we're gonna grab our little weapon here.
Guess I have no choice.
This is our chip stealing gun. I know I said there wasn't any combat in this game, but I kind of lied. I honestly forgot about it. So we're gonna come over here and give this guy a couple tickles. So he's got our chips and he's hoarding them. And 3 quick little tickles. There we go. And he's gonna realize the error of his ways and just give up the chips. There we go. chip to Catherine when she's hungry. You know, being a robot takes a lot out of you. Sometimes you need to eat.
Don't be mad, okay? We really needed that chip. We'd be stuck here.
Could you do it? Kill a robot like that?
I get attached to them too. I'm not a monster. But in this case, it had to be done.
He was talking. I mean, he was delusional, but he seemed sincere.
This is part of the game where Simon kind of questions his morality. Like, he knows at this point that he's not his original body. He is in basically a robot body.
Beginning to sink in.
You do hear Simon breathe and like pants a lot in this game, but he's a robot the entire time, so it doesn't really make sense. He doesn't have a mouth. I don't know how that works, but it's just in the game, so you don't feel weird, I guess.
Yeah. Could you maybe hit that switch over there so we can
And
get
Catherine's
moving?
like, I don't really have time to deal with your nonsense, Simon. Just move on. So we're gonna
Thanks.
grab our door, and we're just taking off because the Zeppelin's a little slow, and we need to go do some other stuff. So we're just sailing away into the void. This is a little bit sketchy of a hover because we're going into a map change, and if we're not far enough and we're not high enough up in the air or in the exact wrong spot, then when the map loads in, we won't be where we need to be, basically. Usually it's fine, but every now and then things go wrong, as they do. Here in a second, we should see the map change. There we go. So yeah, you can get stuck in this little box, or just go into the void. So you're still going to hear the dialogue of the Zeppelin ride, but you're only going to hear it from Simon's perspective because all the audio is proximity based. So you're not going to hear Catherine's side of it. So you just get these weird little splices of dialogue. It's always fun to listen to. So we can't actually progress in the game without having the Omni tool, which is the tool that has Catherine installed inside of it. But we're just setting some stuff up so that it's a little bit faster once we do grab the tool, which is on the Zeppelin.
Oh, sorry. I just can't stop thinking about what we've become. It's clear that we're no longer human. But then how can I feel like Simon? How can I feel like anything at all? I mean, technically, I don't have any ears, no mouth. Christ, that's a weird thing to think about. I mean, I'm making sounds. I'm still saying things.
You certainly are. So we're gonna go up to this door. This door takes forever to open, and there's actually like a little maintenance thing that we have to do. There is a really cool trick that we're gonna do for this, and sometimes if you're fast enough, you can set it up early based on how long it's gonna take for the Zeppelin to arrive. I'm not gonna set it up today because I'm not feeling like we went that fast, but we're gonna get it a little prepared. So once this door is open and we have the Omni tool, we're gonna go inside, obviously, and we're gonna put this into the doorway, and it's gonna jam the door from closing. But because that takes forever to open, sometimes you're able to jam it in early and get it set up. It saves very small amounts of time, but yeah, we gotta be over here ready to pick up the Omni tool from the Zeppelin. So as Catherine gets closer, you're actually gonna hear the dialogue come back into play.
Before you go, the artificial intelligence you mentioned?
We might have actually had time.
Is it the WoW's fault that we're like this? I mean, it seems like something an unreliable AI would do.
I suppose it set the ball in motion.
There's Catherine.
It's not directed with purpose. It's really
She's
complicated.
making her way
to
over. Not as
explain
fast as you did,
how
though.
things, Simon.
Right.
Concentrate on getting inside data, okay? See you soon.
I love Catherine's dialogue. She's basically like, I don't feel like explaining this to you. You're not gonna understand it. Just continue on with what you're doing. She just kind of gets fed up with them.
It's fair. Simon did ask how big is the ocean.
Right. Yeah, he's definitely the most frustrating part of this game. But once again, he has brain damage. You have to cut him a little slack. But yeah, it's like the biggest gripe most people have with this game is it gets frustrating listening to Simon kind of go over the same things multiple times. So we jammed up the doorway, and we're going to load in the next level, but we're going to jump outside, jump back in. That kind of just makes things a little bit quicker. Nothing too big, nothing important, but sometimes it causes the door in the next level to spawn closer to you. It's not guaranteed, but maybe it's going to happen this time. It's a little weird. No. So yeah, sometimes this door back here will be in the middle of the room. So this is Theta. We're not going to see a whole lot of Theta. We're going to go up through the ceiling. Going. Too far down. And we need to reload. So there I'm falling into the void. There's a very certain like vent that you need to land on there. If you don't land on it, you're in the void. But luckily our saves are right here, so we're good. This is usually where you're running around, finding out all about the scans and how they work, and uploading the consciousness. It's a really, really big level, and you get lost very, very easily. But so luckily for us, we just fly on out of the map. And then we get to do a really cool jump, one of my favorites. A really quick way to lose height and maintain the prop is just to crouch. You can also just lose the prop, so we're gonna get a trigger to load in the next part, wait for the game to actually give us a little loading bar, or loading text. There's this floor here, and then we get to do this really big jump and yeah, wee the whole way down, wee. Yeah, a whole bunch of fall damage. You just kind of get some weird visual effects. Slip back and bounds, and we're at the end of the level. Really fun end to this level is getting attacked by this guy, yelling and running down the steps. And he's a cutie. So we're going to go into this cutscene and we're going to go back to the apartment. It's kind of like a dream state, flashback sort of thing. But I want you guys to pay attention to his gaming setup because it's one of the best, probably of all time. Like it should go on r/battle stations. It's just perfect. It does take quite a while to load for whatever reason. It's kind of weird. Any second now. Promise, this is all part of the game. So yeah, here we go. He's got the nice setup. He's got the monitor. He's got an Xbox or something. He's got a power strip with 2 cords, although there's only 2 outlet slots. It's fine. Hey, you know, it's great.
Couples do.
We're not.
Makes me jealous, honestly.
Yes.
Looks perfect for speedrunning.
What happened?
We fell in love.
So we're gonna snap out of it, back to reality. Now we're in this nice, disgusting raspberry jam. Once again, we're inbound, so that means we're gonna do some clipping. This one actually doesn't use an item at all. We're just going to like jump at a corner and get out. I do this in a much sketchier way than a lot of other runners, but it seems to work for me. So we'll see if I can. There's a little spot you can stand on the other side of this wall. It's not very big. Use that to jump across. And now we're just going to run on the roof of the entire map. There's a lot of stuff clipping up through the ceiling. A lot of collision that you have to avoid. And it's also really dark, so you just don't want to jump into the void. Going. Once again, the flashlight really doesn't help, doesn't do much, but it is what it is. Luckily, I've done this before. Coming up here, there is a invisible wall that we have to jump around. Right here, you just can't go any further, but you just gonna jump out that way. And to clip back inbounds, we're gonna jump on this vent, crouch, and just walk into the wall. And hey, here's a prop. Guess what we're gonna do? You guessed it, we're flying across the map.
Is that a wet floor sign?
Yeah, you know. You usually have some wet floors in the ocean, right?
You know, you're not wrong. Hey, I gotta bring it up again. Did you know that there's like rivers and lakes in the ocean?
There's water in the ocean? Wow. I'm learning all
I
sorts
mean, like
of stuff.
actual like shit, like rivers and lakes.
Yeah.
But I've said that fact like twice now. So how about another fact? Do you know that the world's largest mountain is in the ocean?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Do you know the name of said mountain?
No. I'm gonna look it up.
There's two ways to do this part. There's kind of a less consistent but slightly faster way to do this map. And then there's a slightly slower but more consistent way. We're not actually going to do a hover here. We're going to do a clip, which I know it's... I told you guys it'd be the opposite. If we're out in the ocean, we'd be doing hovers, but, you know.
All right.
Sometimes we all get lied to. So we're going to go find our friend Bomberman. I know you don't think he's in this game, but yeah, it's crazy. Instead of putting him in Smash, they put him in this game instead. Sorry.
Alright, so I got it. It's called Monarchie? Or Monarchy? Yeah, apparently, apparently it's around Hawaii.
Yeah, if you're wondering why this is called Bomberman, just look at that face. That's...
I can see it.
It's definitely Bomberman. So we're going to take this with us. We're going to use this to clip inside the Omicron. This is also a really heavy object, so we can't really jump with it. So we're going to do some more juggling. Go across this very sketchy set of scaffolding. So there's a like a piece of metal that you can use, but because this object's bigger, it's going to be much easier to clip with. But it's a little bit slower because, like I said, you know, it's heavier, so it's harder to move around. Pushing this against the wall, and then we need to walk inside of it and then re-grab it. So we're letting go and grabbing it again really, really quickly. Push this to the side. Not doing very nice. Bomberman is not my friend today. Okay. There. Once again, if you joined in or you missed the explanation, objects push you out of their collision, because when you first pick up an object, it doesn't have collision. But if it's intersecting with your own collision, and you grab it again, then it becomes a solid state item. And will try to force you out by all means necessary, or by any means necessary, really. And it's looking for the shortest possible way to do that, and in that case, it was through the wall. So it doesn't care about the wall's collision. It just wants you out of the object. And, there we go. And the Omicron, the hardest and scariest split of all. Mainly because there's a lot of stuff you have to do here. A couple clips, a couple hovers. And there's only like one checkpoint. And it's not in a great spot. So if you happen to mess up, it's not so good for you. Also, if this box touches these railings, it also gets deleted, so you don't want that to happen. I don't know why it happens. It just does. Walls or these railings are very, very hungry. Clips are there. Solve this puzzle, which is always the same. Boop, boop, boop. Turn on the lasers. So in this area, we're going to be building ourselves a new robot body. We need all the parts to do that. Ideally, what's supposed to happen is you progress through this level, and then you find out you need to do it, so you go and collect all the things. We're just collecting them before you even get to that part. So that was one piece we needed. That's why all these doors are locked, because we haven't gotten to that quest line yet. We can just clip through. There's a slightly faster clip you can do here, but it puts you out over the void, and you have to do some really crazy jumps. For me personally, it's not really worth the time save for a run like this. Going for a crazy fast time, or if you just reset on a mistake, then yeah, you can go for it. Sometimes it's better safe than sorry. So we're gonna do a pretty cool trick here. We're gonna open this just enough that we can look through this little gap and grab what we need. And then once again, the door's locked. We clipped in, so we need to clip out of it. And pick up this little tray. And that that just went through the floor. Which, oh, okay, it's back. Sweet. That was almost scary. So that was an instance if that actually got stuck in the floor, which can happen, and we can't get it back out, then we have to do the entire level over again because the item just decided to do whatever. It's another hover. We get past this next clip, then we get the checkpoint, and we're safe for a little bit. Whenever I set up these clips, I'm grabbing it so that once again, my body's kind of in the way that I want to clip. On the left side is prop, not behaving. There we go. Once again, there's going to be another monster. It's a spooky game after all. Can't have a spooky game without some monsters. Luckily, this monster is kind of slow and realizing that we're here and it's not going to matter. Pick up our third piece of the robot suit, run away, and then there's luckily just a wall that you can walk through down here. Crouch into it. Now we're out of bounds. Now we're going to do a little safety save because although we got a checkpoint pretty close, this is by far the hardest section of the hardest level. So we're just going to do a little safety save. Some tough jumps, possibility of a soft lock, and it's just things go wrong. It's a bad time. So wait for this game to load in. And that's already bad. Hey, that's already bad. All right. That wasn't the hard part, but hey, you know, that's just proving my point. Sometimes you need a little safety save. Nothing wrong with that. Wait for this game to load once again. I mean, hashtag that's never happened before. I've never seen that happen. Yeah, that's what you gotta say.
There it is. On the upside, though, it does seem like this game is rather safe with the being able to have the safety saves.
Oh yeah, anytime you have the ability to make a manual save, whether it's hard save, quick save, whatever, it's so nice in the games. Every game should have manual saving. All right, so we're gonna do a little jump here, jump around the corner. And yes, it is a very dark segment. Do some jumps up on collision. Ooh, that was the hard jump right there. So you have to jump out and around. There's actually like 2 walls you have to get around there, so it's real sketchy. And then we're gonna clip back in, crouching, plug Catherine back in. And now she's gonna give us the task of, hey, your body's kind of not great. So make a new body.
Everything is so basic, so limited.
So that we can continue.
I hope it's not the Omnitool falling apart. Okay, we need to find you a power suit. You know, so we can go into the abyss without ending up like a recycled can of soda.
The new body is so that we can go deeper into the water, down to the dark depths of the ocean.
You know how you were transferred from
And our bodies is not going to hold the pressure. So we got to build this new one.
Okay, so
But we already have the parts.
So
we just have to be careful with how we handle this section because we already have the objects. It's very easy to soft lock if we do things in the wrong order. We have to actually activate the quest line to get the stuff before we can really use it. And there's some other little interesting quirks about this area too.
You saw what happened.
Then think of something else.
Simon, please. You don't have to switch this instant, just...
Yeah, more Simon not understanding, complaining, all the yada yada. Catherine being right, as she always is.
Thank you, Simon. Have a look around the room. This is where they would keep the power suits, if there are any left.
So we're going to open the exit for the next part. We're going to start up the terminal. Toss a box in there. Open the door to the power suit. Click on the power suit. We're going to unlock this door. And then we're going to wedge this chair into it. Because this door is supposed to close entirely. So yeah, we're going to wedge that in there. So it stays open and it locks. So if you're stuck in here and you have to listen to a whole bunch of dialogue that you don't want to listen to, this is actually one of the few times we can skip dialogue.
This could work in our favor, though. Look for a terminal
So we're putting all the stuff into the body now. The 3 different things we got.
This is crazy.
Don't worry, it'll work. Make sure it's all bunched together with the structure gel connecting all the parts. All right,
try activate the suit
from the terminal again.
All right. So now where there's dialogue, usually they have to listen to. But if we go back and play a diary recording thing that's on a table back here, it's going to allow us to skip this. And also another piece of dialogue later on.
You go without me.
Now all the doors are going to unlock, as we're going to see here.
You really do. Change button.
We're going to click this twice. You have to click it 3 times in total. And it doesn't matter whether you click it twice here or twice the second time you come back. But at some point, you have to click it 3 times. So I do 2 there and then 1 on the way back. So the door is still locked, but it's jammed open by this chair. Go back here. So now we're going to, once again, upload our consciousness. And this is kind of the core moral question that the game presents. It's a lot more psychological horror. It makes you really think about a certain topic. What makes a person? Is it their consciousness? Is it their body? Is it together? Is it none of that? So we're uploading the consciousness of Simon and all of his knowledge at this moment. And it's staying in this body, but it's also going to this new robot suit. Now there's 2 instances of this body. It's a fairly simple concept to kind of understand. You know, cloning, making duplicates, whatever. They both have the exact same memories. They both think they're the real Simon.
It's just...
Why was it still talking?
And now we are the consciousness that is
Catherine,
over here.
Why was he still talking?
That's how it works, you know that.
What do you mean?
No, it's not magic.
All we have to do is go back over here, skip some dialogue, and then we are out of Omicron. Overall, not too bad.
Kath, 2 Simons.
Press the button again. We're also not going to do anything about this robot. You kind of get a choice whether you want to, like, mercy kill him or just, like, leave him here. But any of those is just kind of too slow, so we're going to pick Catherine back up on the Omni tool. Use that to open the next part. And we put this box into this air vent so we can actually clip back into Omicron here. And it's going to start unloading around us, but if we come out here and stand on this little part, it's going to save us a bit of time in walking and waiting for the air vent to open. Once the new map spawns in, it's going to put us right where we need to go, essentially. But it's super scary just standing on, like, a razor-thin line over top of void.
Right?
You can see some
God,
fish.
that's trippy. It grew into like a whole bridge.
So we're going to plug her back in, and this is the infamous elevator for speedrunners. It's a lot of waiting around. There's like a little brief part that you have to like repair it as it's going down. But it's a nice, cozy, comfy ride. You know, you get locked in. Simon and Catherine kind of have a chat about, you know, their old lives and some other fun stuff. If we got any facts or questions of, you know, moral dilemma questions we want to talk about, it's a great opportunity.
Moral dilemmas?
Yeah, you know, sometimes.
Actually, I have one question. Is it possible to skip the elevator?
No.
I couldn't do it.
There is like a little fun thing you can do on the second part, like not sitting back down in the chair, but there's no way to skip it. If there was, every SOMA runner would rejoice.
I'd be running away at Omicron.
It'd be a crazy fast
Nowhere to
time.
know, right? You didn't hit the make sure Simon wakes up in the right body switch, did you?
The way the next level loads is
Not that you
by
would
having
know.
this go all the way down, so it's not like you can
Still
fall
claim
down
to be
into the
right
void
side.
and hit a trigger early.
Christ. This is awful. We did an awful fucking thing.
Sometimes in games,
And you wouldn't
a
mind.
lot of
Why
times
would
it's
you?
like, oh, if you click on
How
a
did you know that
door,
it's not me? The
or if
me
you
that I
walk
am,
into
the
this
same that
area,
I've always been.
is the end of the level, you go on to the next
Please
one.
say something.
A lot of games, especially
I
nowadays,
wanna think.
will have a cutscene start or end a level, so there's no possible way to skip it because you just don't have control over it.
Say anything.
Like if it starts on a cutscene, then you're just put into it immediately. There's nothing you can do about it. At the end, then you have to let it play out because there's no other way to continue on the game. It's kind of unfortunate. It is what it is. If you're doing a whole bunch of grinding, it's a nice time to get some water, use the bathroom, stretch your legs, pet your animals, a lot of fun stuff. It's also a great time if you're enjoying this run or any other speedruns. You hop on over to my channel, click that follow button, come check out my streams. Do a whole bunch of other horror games, doing some Resident Evil Village runs, getting ready for the Penumbra trilogy for SGDQ, Bioshock from time to time, Dishonored from time to time. Much like Dice is here, who runs 100 plus games. My count's up there, not quite as much. It's a little bit lower, but sometimes it's quantity,
games out there.
quality over quantity.
But I went up to the roof many
suppose.
times after. I'm not religious, but I can see why people would be. The privilege of being makes a strong case.
Yeah, shoutouts to It's Trigger, the current record holder for this game. He's amazing at it. He is also very helpful in getting things set up. He's helped me with multiple things in this run, figuring it out, so shoutouts to him for sure.
Computers at the bottom of the sea. We'll never be able to rebuild or reclaim what we were.
Are you really so unhappy being what you are, or is this about the man who went for a scan 100 years ago?
Both, I guess. When I was back in Toronto, even the worst case, the darkest futures I could predict, they at least included my previous lives.
All I know is thanks to Ocean Week, I want to go to an aquarium again.
There's nothing here that I recognize, nothing that makes me feel like I belong.
Aquariums are pretty comfy.
Even if we make it
Yeah,
dark,
always fun stuff.
would it be any different?
It's like going to a museum, but it's not as boring. It's like, oh, there's fish, there's a stingray, there's a...
Well, sometimes they let you touch the fish.
I'm sure everyone would like to know that.
Yeah, there's certain like ones where you can like pet manta rays and stuff.
So this is the spooky section. We got to go fix it real quick. It's very small amounts of gameplay. Go up this ladder,
Hello, Catherine.
push down a little switch, and then we get to sit back in the chair.
I know it's not much, but why are we stop moving?
When you go to sit back down here, if you just hold backwards,
Atmospheric pressure.
you don't sit down. You can kind of do this weird little motion back and forth.
Don't worry.
This doesn't really save any time, but if you really want to sit here and hold backwards for a minute or two, whenever, spoilers, the monster shows up, you kind of get to see him interact with an empty chair, which is kind of fun, but my hands are not going to do that. So.
Sounds like sleeping without the dreaming.
But generally you anticipate.
So we get some insight into how Catherine sees the world, because she's just like on the Omni tool. And so she never gets a break. She never like goes to sleep. It's just whenever she gets unplugged and plugged back in, there's no time jump for her. It's just like an instant split. So it's super disorientating and stuff. But her brain consciousness is also uploaded. But there's a real Catherine out there as well. Or that's kind of what they imply through here. They mentioned finding her down here in the dark depths where she works, inside Tau. Spoilers, because we're going to skip that in a little bit. We never actually find her. Well, you do, but she happens to be long gone by the time we get there. We did it! Woo! This guy is so proud of us, you know. Can't really be angry at him. He's so encouraging. Catherine's over here yelling at us about not being smart enough, which is true. But then the WoW's like, hey, you did it. Good job, buddy. And it's like, hey, thanks, man. Coming up is the scariest hover. I'm actually gonna pause it for a second because I'm gonna move my OBS over to my other monitor, which seems strange. But because of how my color settings and the gamma is on my other monitor, it makes it much easier to see when I'm doing this hover. Like my game feed's gonna be basically I can't see anything, but my OBS I'll be able to see where I'm going, hopefully. I was having some really strange issues last night on stream where my game was just like 10 times darker than it's supposed to be. And even my OBS feed wasn't helping, so hopefully tonight it's a little bit kinder to me. But yeah, if you guys can't see anything on this next hover, and it's going to be a pretty lengthy hover, that's completely normal. And it's also a scary hover. It's not over the void, but the way this area works is there's different storms raging, and it's like as you progress through the level, it's supposed to get worse, and the storms make it harder to see and all that stuff, and it also slows you down. So we're going to try to go up high enough that we clear over certain mountains, but we're also going to go over top of the storm triggers. And if we don't go high enough, we hit those, and we go slower, and it becomes even harder to see, as I mentioned. And it's not good if you do this wrong. So we're going to do another safety save down here. Turn on the flashlight. It doesn't really do anything, unfortunately. It'd be great if the flashlight brightened up the whole ocean, but it's the deep dark. You know, we just took a really, really long elevator ride down to the ocean floor. So we're really far down here now. We're going to pick up this little box, container, whatever it is. And we're going to use this to fly through this entire level. There's also a preload trigger that we need to hit along the way, which makes it even scarier. So we're gonna have to drop like halfway through once I find out where I need to go. And then from there, we're gonna have to do another hover, which is a little less scary that time around. For all to work. So here's another pipe in the ground, which is actually really convenient because it once again kind of just shows us the way. We're gonna go up pretty high, and I don't know if it ever comes through on the stream, but on the right-hand side, we're looking for the map to kind of unload a section, so it's gonna be a little bit more gray than just pitch black, and that's gonna be kind of a guiding line for me to see. So now I'm up high enough, hopefully, and we're gonna unscroll the item so it's far away and we can kind of walk. I'm gonna jump a couple times just to be safe. Now we're gonna be flying through here. So I'm looking at kind of middle left on the top side. It's hard to pinpoint this. I'm looking for, it's even hard to describe it when I'm looking at it. It's a little like dirt road in the water. It's a little bit more gray than anything else. Hopefully it comes through on stream, but once we get there, you'll know it. Unless I mess up, then you're just going to be seeing the reload screen and doing this all again. It's going. There's definitely, when I was learning the run, it was one of the more off-putting things about it, is all these hovers through water. It's like, oh, you know, you're just hovering. It's not really anything exciting, but there is actually like a tense section when you're doing these. Like, you don't want to lose time here. You don't want to hit a storm. You don't want to just completely fail this. So there is some excitement to it. Should be getting kind of close. Hopefully.
Honestly, I think this is the hover in particular that I ended up watching the run once, and I was like, this looks hard.
Yeah. So if it does come through on stream, there's like a little backward C. There's a 90-degree corner up here that we're going to land on. So I can actually see it, which is nice.
We actually, we have the GDQ replay, which is on the, it's like on the bottom left of the main screen, and it's kind of replaying it with maximum brightness turned on, so they can see a lot more.
Nice. Yeah, we're going to safely fall down here, hit this corner. So right around here is where the preload trigger is. We're going to jump off. There's not really a storm here, but we're going to gain some height by just doing some simple jumps, because there's another mountain we need to clear towards the end of it. And the reason we need another preload trigger is because we want to keep this box into the next map. We don't want it to unload. There is a backup for if you just don't do this hover at all, or if this happened, you know, you don't have to preload, which is all good. But the fast way is just to keep this with us. So we're going to hover this way. I might have gone a little too far right. The worst is if you kind of feel like you went off in the wrong direction, maybe you strayed a little too far right or too left, and then you're second guessing yourself. When in reality, you just need to go a little bit further and you would have been fine. And definitely get in your own head there. But we should be coming up. Just passed over the mountain. We're looking for some lights. Just going to indicate the Tau facility, which I think is right there. At the squint. See it? Okay. Yeah, so there's a little light down there. We're gonna just hold our item, but a fast way of falling down is just to look up, so you bring the item out in front of you, and then you can just fall down safely.
God, that was like the most wild surfing segment in a horror game we'll ever see.
Yeah, it's the scariest part of this entire run. All right, I need to move this over again. We're not done with this item. What is happening? It's freaking out. Okay, that was kind of weird. So while the water's still going down, we're going to jump up here, hopefully. You could just hover up, but it's pretty easy to just jump. And then once the water's down, we're going to use this to clip through the wall. And the map's going to change, and we're going to be out of bounds still. We still have some scary stuff in the run. There's a pretty tricky jump coming up here that we're going to do a little safety save for. But first, we need to jump over here.
Let's find
This
the
jump can be a little annoying at times. Okay. Some very, very fine parts of geometry that you need to stand on to get around here. I'm going to do a little save exit. There's like an autosave you can get that's a little bit further back by the beginning of this level. But I always tend to just bypass it and do a safety save here. So what we're doing in Tau, kind of what we've been doing for a while, is we're messing with this thing called the Ark, which is humanity's last salvation, basically. Everyone who's had their consciousness scanned, their data is being put on the Ark, which is being blasted off into space, or that's our goal, is to blast it off into space so that humanity, quote unquote, survives. Although most of humanity is wiped out from the comet that hit Earth, it's our goal to basically make sure at least their consciousness survives. So we're going to get back in bounds by sitting on this bed. There's a spooky ghost here. We're going to just go ahead and bust that ghost real quick. And then we need to clip back out of bounds. So we need to interact with that lady. I can never remember her name. So that we can come out here, pick up the Ark, which is right here. Get out of bounds. And then we need to drop down. So we're going to crouch, slide off. And into the void. For some reason, it didn't want to drop me straight down. So there's also a really, really precise trick that you can do to extend this out of bounds a little bit further. And you get into the final room of the level. But it's a little tricky, and the setup is not one I'm a big fan of doing. So unfortunately, do this jump again. Gotta over on the outside. A trick so nice, we gotta do it twice. Or, maybe even 3 times.
Well, from what we learned earlier, it's always first try because it's all one long attempt.
True. One big attempt.
It's like how all RNG is actually a 50-50 chance. Either it happens or it doesn't happen.
True. That is how stats work.
Exactly, right? Definitely nothing else more intricate than that.
All right, do all this stuff that we talked about again, just in case you missed it. I just like sitting in the bed. It's real nice, real comfy. And for all those people in chat, sad that we're skipping so much story, don't worry, we're going to get the whole story experience at the end of the game. Just you wait. So, pick up the Ark once again. Hopefully it lets me just fall down. There we go. So we got these little life pods. The whole goal is to bring the Ark down to the basement. You're supposed to use this little elevator to do that, but we can just take the easy way down. Yeah, there's a way to get past this door a little bit quicker, but it's a really, really precise trick. I'm just not feeling up to doing today. Sometimes backup strats are the way to go. We'll be loading up the Ark. To attach it. So we're basically taking it to another station so that we can launch it. We're going to actually swipe this Omni tool twice because it makes this part go faster. I guess we're getting a third. You usually have to wait a couple seconds for these pipes to be breakable, but if you happen to scan Omni tool twice, then you're just going to do it a little faster. Yes, house and trees. The thing we're holding the Ark is currently stuffed with all that really remains of humanity. The ghost in the chair was like the last living person. as far as we're told in the story. So now everything that remains is just consciousness stuck into robot bodies like Simon and the other various robots around the area that we've dealt with. But using this to once again do a little bit of a hover. This one doesn't skip a whole lot. There is a part where you have to deal with the WOW, which if it is bright enough, you kind of see the area on the left as we pass over. But we're just going to follow this train car. And we're going to go into Phi, which is where the arc launches from. Yeah, on the left, you can see the path.
Can you run on top of that thing?
On top of the train track, yes, but there's a like a wall up here for some reason that you have to hover over regardless. So yeah, all of that I believe has collision. Never really tried to walk on it, but I would assume it does. Oh, turn on my flashlight. Gotta make sure you do that. So this bright, I say bright. This faint light on the left side. That's where all the WOW stuff is. I'm just gonna bypass all of that. Once again, we had this nice, convenient line just like pointing us in the direction that we need to go. It's like, hey, just follow the train track and you're going to be at the end of the level, so you don't have to worry too much. And a really unfortunate thing about running this game is something that's happening to me right now. If you have an itchy nose during any of these hovers and your left and right hand are both occupied by holding forward and holding the item, there's just no way to itch your nose. And it's awful. It happens every time I do a long hover. Never any other time. But, we'll suffer through. So I have a little light there, which means we're getting close to the end. Looking for the entrance. So once we get into Phi, we have one really kind of cool clip that we get to do. And then it's all about launching the arc and suffering through Simon's stubbornness, we'll say. It's a very polite way of saying it. So here's the end. We don't need to keep this item with us, but we are going to use it to kind of open the door a little bit quicker. If we put it on the inside and pull it out, open the door just a little quicker. Scratch the nose a couple times, all good. You're not going to see, we're going to get a black screen here because we didn't hit any preload trigger, but we don't need to. It's all good. And then this is going to be kind of just like the last area we have to sit through. Some good gameplay here. Also, the airlocks, or whatever you want to call these little sections between the outside and inside, are extremely long in this game. The doors take forever to open. The water takes forever to drain. It's kind of a byproduct of the game's loading.
Depressurization. So while we're waiting for the door, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to give to anybody?
I mean, just the entire SOMA community for finding all this stuff. Pretty great people.
This has to be Phi, right?
All right.
Pretty cool
The
people.
arc made it here in one piece.
We're gonna grab this book. It's a nice book. I don't know what it is. Like I don't know the topic of it, but hey. Grab the corner, and we're gonna crouch jump our way into this little section. We're gonna jump up through the map, and then we're going to pull the item close to us and far away and just push it through the map so we can bring it with us. And we're gonna jump on top of it and just ride it over, bypassing whatever gameplay was left in the section. And this is where we get to launch the arc. So we're gonna plug Catherine back in. It's in this really comfy chair. I think it's made by DX Racer, but I'm not sure.
Not after this is over.
Right. Have a seat.
And you know what they say about speedrun is that only the best speedruns have crane games in them. If your game doesn't have a crane game mechanic, it's just not a good speedrun. That's like one of the first couple of rules about speedrunning. So luckily this game does have one of those.
This is a good speedrun.
Exactly. Doom 3, Dino Crisis, Number Black Plague.
The only one I knew was Dino Crisis. I'm trying to think of what else I know that had cranes. Dino Crisis mainly.
we're going to use this to load the Ark basically into a giant cannon that's going to blast off into space. And now we're going to sit here and listen to Simon and Catherine kind of just talk about some stuff. And this is the part that kind of gets frustrating, because the whole time we've been talking about consciousness, well, at least in a casual playthrough, about like when you make a copy, the other one doesn't go away, you don't carry on, it's just a separate copy that continues on without you. And we've always been playing as the Simon that is continuing on, and not the one that, as they put it, loses the coin flip. We're never the one stuck in the past. And while we're making another copy of ourselves to put on the Ark, unfortunately, one Simon does have to stay behind.
20 seconds.
And the one that stays behind is the one that we're stuck with, and he doesn't understand the concept of one getting stuck behind. And he kind of freaks out, and there's some bad language. If you're not into that, he gets a little upset, to say the least. He kind of lashes out.
10 seconds.
It makes Catherine feel bad for no reason. It's not her fault.
7.
Yeah.
6. You gotta be kidding me. 5. 4. 3.
He tried his best.
Yeah, we made it!
Yeah, the Ark went off. Humanity survives on. But here we are, the bottom of the ocean,
I'm here.
with no way to continue on.
Nothing.
It's a
They're out
horrifying
there, among the stars.
existence.
We're here.
No. We were getting on the Ark. I saw it. It finished
And then when you speedrun it, he does this quite literally every run.
Simon, I can't keep telling you how it works. You won't listen. You know why we're here. You were copied onto the Ark. You just didn't carry over. You lost the coin toss. We both did. Just like Simon at Omicron. Just like the man who died in Toronto 100 years ago.
No. This is bullshit. We came all this way. We launched the Ark.
I know it sucks, but our copies are up there. Catherine and Simon are both safe on the Ark. Be happy for them.
Are you crazy? We're gonna die down here with those fuckers living at large on a spaceship. They're not us. They're not us.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Simon. I'm proud of what we did. We made sure that something of the hundreds of thousands of years of human history survived, that something lives on.
No. Fuck this. Fuck this. Fuck you. Fuck you, Catherine. You lied. And I believed in you and I trusted you. You said we're getting on the fucking Ark.
We are on the Ark, you idiot! I didn't lie. I can't be responsible for your goddamn ignorance. You
Fuck!
He went through all that, realizes he didn't make it on the Ark, and now the power's out, so Catherine's gone. His one companion, one thing to keep him company is gone. We're going to get credits here, but it's not the end of time. There is actually some gameplay after the fact that does count towards the time. So once we get like 10 seconds into this, we're able to skip the credits. Because from my understanding, they did some playtesting, and people weren't too happy with the way the game ended. It's not a very positive ending. So you also get the ending of being on the Ark. So the Simon that wins the coin toss is now playing Minecraft with RTX turned on. And it's beautiful, you know. The Ark is pretty cool. It's not like the ocean at all. Just gonna run down here, experience all that life has to offer on the Ark. Yeah, once again, if you guys like this run, if you like frictional games runs, Amnesia, Penumbra, or a lot of modern FPS games, horror games, puzzle games, you can find me on my own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/BloodThunder. If you want to find any of my content, any of my old speedruns, any of that stuff, just go to BloodThunder.tv. Search around there, you'll be able to find it. You know, a lot of GDQ appearances if you're on the GDQ YouTube.
Catherine?
But hey, it's Catherine. We finally get to meet her in person.
Catherine!
And there she is. And that is
I can't
time.
believe we actually made it.
Well, we did.
I'm so relieved.
All right.
Yeah, this
Good
Simon has
stuff.
no idea that he's on the Ark, or I guess he has no idea that one lost the coin toss. We get a little glimpse of Earth and its the impact after the comet and everything that happened. Yeah, all of humanity is on the Ark, just floating in space forever. And maybe that's where we are right now, if you think about it, you know?
Maybe. But right now, we're on Speedruns from the Crypt.
Tell me more about it and when you can watch it again.
It's a show every 2 weeks. So we'll be back next Wednesday, not next Wednesday, the following Wednesday. It's all fun stuff, but what I'd like to hear from you, now that we finished with SOMA, is if people want, I know we said it, but if people want to find you, once again, where can they find you on Twitch? And anywhere else, really?
If you want to find me on Twitch, just twitch.tv/BloodThunder. All spelled correctly, one word. If you want to find any of my other social media, Twitter, YouTube, Discord, any of that, just go to bloodthunder.tv. It's going to be the easiest way. Name gets taken on other accounts, and you got to change like some letters around and underscores and all that stuff. So just go there if you want to find those extracurriculars. Yeah, thanks for having me. Ocean Week was a blast. You know, I always got to represent Bioshocks. SOMA.
Exactly, a lot of aquatic games. So it is fun stuff. Before we head on out, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
If you want to see me again and you don't feel like watching my channel, I'll be back on GDQ. I think it's on the 4th or 5th when SGDQ rocks around. It'll be the Penumbra Trilogy, another game series, I guess, by Frictional Games. It's their early work. It's a lot more broken than this. It's 3 runs done in under an hour. So it's a good time for sure.